Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this Around the Ropes YouTube exclusive. Now, guys, you know, we talk about Immortal quite a bit, and they have another show coming up on September 16th from Westmoreland, New York, and there's going to be some women action as Kayla Sparks puts her title up against this lovely lady who made her debut up in Cobleskill, the one, the only Adrianna Fury. Adrianna, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well, John. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure is mine. Before we get into your big title match on the 16th, I want to kind of backtrack a little bit. What got you into pro wrestling? Was there a moment? Was there a match?
It's definitely been a journey. So I actually didn't get into wrestling like how normal people get into it, like, oh, I started training at such and such. I've been in the business since I was 4. I was selling 50-50 stacking chairs for the same promotion company, same locker room people. I've been around since I was little. So they've kind of really have grown into my family. And I never once ever in that whole time period from I was 4 to 18 said, I want to be a pro wrestler. Like, I want to train. Like, never once did I ever say that. But then one day I went to the school that I started training at, and I was like, you know what? I want to get in there and see what happens. I was in a sweater, like a hoodie and some jeans. And I got in the ring, and my uncle and I were in there, and he was just, we were running the ropes a little bit. And then I took my first bump that night, and I was hooked from there. And I was like, now I love it even more. And that's how I kind of got started. I was in jeans and a hoodie at 18 is how I got started actually wrestling, but I've been around the business itself since I was 4 and going to shows and on the road and whatnot.
It's interesting that you say, that you got into it basically wearing a sweatshirt and jeans, because most people, when they hear wrestling, would think of, you're going to wear shorts, you're going to wear some sort of athlete. You don't think of jeans as being athletic.
Yeah. It was just like a random thing. Like we were there. I was in Rochester that day, and we went to the school that night to pick something up. And because my uncle is he's a ref, so he actually refs for Immortal too. But we went to the school before I started training there. And we just went there, and he goes, "You want to get in the ring?" And I said, okay, sure. Why not? So I did it, and he was in jeans and I was in jeans, and then it turned into a whole training session and in jeans and a hoodie. So.
I mean, again, I got to give you props for that. I stepped into the ring once a couple of weeks ago at a promotion down in Jersey. I wasn't taking a bump. It was just to cut a promo. And the funny part is I'm not the tallest person imaginable. So having to go through, because I went through the middle rope.
Yeah.
That the funnier part was, and I'll tell you more about the story afterwards, was me getting out of the ring, because nobody had shown me the proper way to get out of the ring.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I can get out of the ring, plop my butt on the side and just hop off. Yeah, the problem is the ring was a little too high for me to do that.
Oh no.
So believe me, I definitely. But now you got your start in Rochester. From there, was Immortal the first company that you kind of been a part of, or were there other ones?
So I started my journey with wrestling through UPW, which is Upstate Pro Wrestling. Their school is the school I train at, which is FCWA, Flower City Wrestling Academy. And then I kind of branched a little bit towards ESW, which is Empire State Wrestling, which is located more in Buffalo.
Okay.
And those are kind of mainly the two that I've been associated with for a long time. And then I started going to Immortal because I'm really close with Chip Stetson and them. And we started going up there, and because my uncle refs for them now, so I started going with them. And then they needed my help one day, and I came, and yeah, that's how the story has been.
Now, you mentioned that your uncle is one of the refs. Which of the refs is your uncle?
So it's Darren.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what he goes by. Sometimes he goes by Ref Richard Head, so I don't know if he goes by that at Immortal or if he just goes by Ref Darren. So.
I probably have seen him before because, like I said, I've been to God, I think I've been to 5 Immortal shows already this year.
Yeah.
And I know the one that everybody always pops for is Sideburns.
Yeah, good old Sideburns. I know him well.
Now, obviously, you made your debut with Immortal.
Mm-hmm.
I want to preface that the right way.
Yes.
At Cobleskill.
Yes. Correct.
Against Kayla Sparks. Obviously, she didn't have the title at that point because obviously the show beforehand, which is where the show next week is going to be, she had lost the belt to Becca. Now, when you got there, how far in advance did you know that you were going to be working with probably one of the biggest names from Immortal?
So I knew they called me and told me they needed to fill a spot. Mm-hmm. So they called me and told me. They didn't tell me who. So I drove 3 hours from Rochester because I was wrestling in Rochester. I drove 3 hours from Rochester to Cobleskill. So I made it there just in time for the match, and then they're like, "You're wrestling Kayla Sparks," and I'm like, "Okay, this is great because I've wanted to wrestle her for a really long time." And they're like, "Yep," and then they're like, "You're obviously heel," and I'm like, "Okay, I can do that." So yeah, me and her got some beef going on, and I'm here for it, and I'm so hungry right now because I just came back to wrestling due to an injury for the past 2 years that I've been gone, and I'm so hungry right now that I will do anything it takes just to, be that girl for for whatever I have to be. If I have to be the bad guy, I'll be the bad guy.
Now, is it easier for you being the heel? Because I've heard from a lot of wrestlers that it's easier to be the bad guy than it is to be the good guy. Is that the same with you?
No, I'm completely the opposite. If I'm being honest, I'm completely the opposite. I started off as a heel manager, matter of fact. Was terrible at it. I was terrible. But I was new, I was green. Then I was a heel, I started becoming more of a heel. And then I made the switch to a baby face. Random. They made me switch, and I'm like, okay, so now I can be like me, and I'm like, me, yay. So yeah, and I enjoy being a baby face, but everyone says I'm like a natural born heel because I can be. So I can play both. I just prefer being baby face. Because that's mainly what I'm known for in Rochester and Buffalo, is being this big baby face. But it's nice to have a change, and it's really refreshing because then I don't have to be so nice all the time.
The reason I bring that up is I've heard in other interviews that a lot of wrestlers even on the independents or in WWE and AEW, that being a heel allows you to be more yourself.
Yes.
I
guess it depends. Because I feel more myself as a babyface, and I feel more restricted being a heel. But I can say more and get away with more being a heel. Mm-hmm. But I feel more like me as a babyface, but I can get away with more the opposite.
That's definitely that's the first time I've ever heard that, actually, because I've always heard it be the other way. That I've always heard wrestlers say that they feel more restricted being a babyface.
Yeah, than they do a heel. Everyone always looks at me and they're like, "Are you crazy?" I'm like, "I'm not. I'm just naturally a really nice person, and it's just my personality. There's nothing about my character or my babyface persona that's fake. It's all genuine. It's all real. I don't have to fake any of that." So I guess I just draw it from just me in general. So I don't know. Everyone thinks it's weird.
I'm not saying you're crazy, because believe me, I'm the same way as well. I mean, yes, granted, I'm not a wrestler because I'm the biggest klutz
imaginable. I'm a klutz too. It's okay.
But I've always been told by people, if I were to ever be a wrestler, and it's crossed my mind a couple of times about actually getting into being a wrestler, that I've always had that I've always been told that I'd be a better babyface than a heel, just because it's in my DNA. I've never come off like a heel. But on the other side, people have said to me, if I would ever be a heel, that I would be almost, the way somebody described it to me is this, that I would be also the storyline of this mystery assailant type of storyline. Yeah. And they said I would fit perfectly as the one who would be the culprit who got caught.
Yeah.
That's what people have said. But honestly, like I said, I would never do it just because I see what everybody puts themselves through. And yeah, no, I'm okay. Believe me, I've had my fair share of, as I call it, the greatest hits of stupidity. So I'm okay and not adding to that list.
My family asks me the same thing every day. They're like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. I just like it.
Oh, believe me, it's the same with me. I obviously from doing this podcast that I have people who look at me, they're like, why do you continue this podcast? I'm like, it's for the fun. That's all it comes down to. But I want to get back into Cobblestone because, like I said, that was your initial debut with the company. When you went through the curtain, and you had the entire crowd sitting there, what was your initial reaction or all that stuff?
Well, one, I wasn't I walked in and saw people, but I wasn't expecting that many people. Because I've wrestled for bigger crowds, I have, but it's not consistent. So I guess I wasn't used to it, and I kind of psyched myself out a little bit and got nervous. Performance anxiety kind of a little bit. But then I got out there and it's and I haven't been heel in a really long time. And I was also like, all right, now I gotta switch gears here because I just came back from being a baby face. So now I gotta switch gears and be the bad guy. So I was in the middle of doing that and walk out there and I'm like, it just hit me all of a sudden. And I was there. It's like, they're going to know me and they're going to know me as a heel. They're not going to know me for being Adrianna the babyface. They're going to know me for kicking Kayla and beating her. That's how they're going to remember who I am. And that's what I want to continue doing because I want another place to know me for something different and not the same exact thing. And I feel like I got that across at Kobusco because I had a couple people come up to me. They're like, oh, you're really good, or, you're a really good heel, or some comments here and there.
Yeah. I would have come up to you afterwards. The problem is I was so damn sweaty that night.
It was really hot in there.
I remember sitting there and I was looking around. I'm like, okay, are they going to have fans on here?
Yeah, I had pants on and I had to drive in those pants because I came in my full gear. Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, I like I said, being up there, like I said, I become a big fan of Immortal and getting a chance to you take on Kayla. I thought it was a great exposure for you taking on somebody like Kayla, who, I mean, let's call it what it is. Kayla is probably the biggest name in women's wrestling to come out of Immortal.
Yeah.
In its existence. So the fact that they had enough confidence in you, that Mike and Chip had enough confidence in you to turn around and go, okay, let's put her up against Kayla. I mean, yes, granted, there may have been some outside help, but I'm just saying there might have been.
I recall no such thing.
Yeah, I don't know why I just said that.
I don't recall any such thing of cheating. I don't cheat. I won fair and square.
Okay, I'll say this right now. Yes, you did. You did win fair and square. But obviously now looking ahead, September 16th, you have your rematch with her.
Yeah.
But now there's another layer added to it. And it's for the title.
I'm coming for it.
Obviously, hold on, let me backtrack for a second. That all could change after tomorrow with the Wrestling Showcase.
True.
Because I know she is defending the title on the Wrestling Showcase against Veda Scott.
True. Very true.
So it could. So September 16th could get interesting, to say the least.
It could. However, I'm not just in it for the belt. I'm in it for becoming the new face of Immortal Championship Wrestling for the women's division. I'm going to take it all, John. All of it. I'm going to take all of her pride and joy and take it.
I'll say this right now. You have a fan right here.
I want it all. Like I told you, like I said earlier, I'm very hungry. And I think Immortal is just another stepping stone for me. And I am so grateful that they entrust putting me on their shows and making their shows more impactful. And I plan to run with it. And I plan to make them proud, not only Mike King, but Chip as well and my uncle. I want to make them all proud, but I also want to do something for me because I feel very undervalued as a women's wrestler now in today's day and age. I feel very undervalued. And I think Immortal is opening a door for me to not feel like that anymore. And I'm just going to take it all if I can.
I believe me, I as somebody who's a huge supporter of women's wrestling, I completely see where you're coming from on it, because especially when you look at the independent scene, I'm not even talking about WWE and AEW. I'm just looking at independents right now. You don't see many companies have prominent women divisions.
Yes.
I mean, yes, granted, you have a few here and there. Like you have, I know a lot, because like I said before we recorded, a lot of shows I go to are in Jersey. So in Jersey, you know, it's oversaturated, I feel like, when it comes to especially women wrestling. But when you look more in like the Immortal, Empire State, Excite, all those areas, it's like women's wrestling. It's almost like once you get past the metro area, it's like women's wrestling becomes scarce almost.
It is. It's very hard here. And that's why I'm trying to venture out more. Because I don't really have many options here. And it's frustrating when you try and work so hard, but you don't get rewarded with anything. Not that you need to be, but it's nice to be acknowledged every once in a while. And now I feel like I'm actually getting acknowledged for the hard work that I've been putting in and working my tail off and recovering from hip surgery, granted, for that, and still coming back. And I've put so much blood, sweat, and actual tears into this craft. It's not even like it's nice to be like, hey, we want you and we want to use you. And that's what is driving me to want to have it all, especially to have what Kayla's got. I want to be that. And I'm going to come for her spot and make her irrelevant to Immortal Championship Wrestling when I'm done with her. Matter of fact. But besides the point, Immortal is going to be the place for me to bloom into what I'm meant to be.
I believe me, I in the 18 minutes that we've spoken, I can feel the energy coming from you a bit, and that you're going into this not because, oh, you know, I have a title opportunity. No, it's I have a chip on my shoulder, and I'm going into this to prove something.
Yeah, 100%.
And like I said, I'm kicking myself that I cannot be up there for that show.
It's okay.
But I will, believe me. And it's actually funny because I know the next show that they're doing is in Cobleskill again. So
yes,
I know, you know, hopefully with some stuff coming through, I'm hoping I'll be up there for that one. But, you know, as far as with you with Kayla, obviously, like I said before, you got it's the titles on the line. Again, pending what happens at Wrestling Showcase. Do you feel that's almost an advantage towards you, being that she's going to have to defend the title literally 7 days before she gets into the ring with you? Do you think that kind of gives you sort of the advantage?
No, because she also does back-to-back WWE shows or back-to-back AEW shows wherever she gets booking. So if you want to think about it like that, you have to think she's actually getting more time to get working. I don't have stuff to get working other than going to training and going to the gym. She's actually getting practice in and working on stuff, and I'm not. So really, in my personal opinion, I think she might have a little bit of an upper advantage than me, but I've also been working my own way, getting back into the gym, getting my stamina up, getting my ring endurance up, something that she's probably not working on and not paying attention to.
Boy, this match is going to be something to be seen next Saturday.
Definitely. I plan to make it a spectacular match.
And especially it's as they're calling it, Immortal 30. So it's a big stage. But a couple more questions I got before we wrap up. Being that you've been in this industry for some time now, who would be one individual either? Well, let me do indies first, and I'll do my other one later on. Other than Kayla, is there anybody else in the indies that you would that you have your eyes on, saying, okay, I want to try to get into the ring with this person? Almost like, who is your, basically, I guess the best way I can phrase this, who is your dream opponent on the indies?
Okay, so I've been watching her ever since I first saw her at Alpha One Wrestling in Canada, and that's Allie Catch. I want to wrestle her so bad. I think it would be, I don't know. There's something about her, and I'm just like, I need to wrestle her. I need it. Like, it's just something, and I want to be her because I just love the way she was in the ring. And I saw her a while ago though, and this was like before she made like the big switch with her and Effie. And this was before Orange Cassidy got signed. It was like right before he got signed. I think they were in the middle of writing his contract because he was at that show as well. They were all there, and it was an amazing show. And I saw her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in love with her. Like, I love her so much. Like, I just need her in my life. And yeah, so that would probably be one of my top. Like, she's probably at the top, honestly. There's probably a couple others I'd love to wrestle. But off the top of my head, she's always the first one that comes to my head. I just love her so much.
Now, to put you on the spot here, obviously I asked you about the indie side. Now I'm going to ask you about WWE, AEW side. Who would be? And I know this one may get a little tough, so I'll make it a little easier. If you can give me 3 women,
okay,
from WWE or AEW, who would it be?
Okay, so definitely top. It's gonna be Bayley. We're gonna put Rhea in there because I love her, and then we're gonna throw in. We're gonna have a tiebreaker here. We're gonna have Paige and Britt Baker.
Okay.
And I say Paige because Paige is the first women wrestler that actually made me want to wrestle. So Paige and Britt Baker, but I also really want to wrestle Britt Baker, so that would be fun.
All the people you mentioned are, top-notch people. Before we let you go, if you would like to have the opportunity now to cut a little bit of a promo on Kayla ahead of your match, the floor is yours on that. I will take myself off screen.
Okay.
So then you can cut your promo on her. So just give me 1 second here. And like I said, whenever you're ready, go right.
All right. Immortal Championship Wrestling. So I just got news that on what's today's date? Well, today's the 8th. So next week on the 16th in Westmoreland, Kayla and I are about to have a little match again. And you know what I'm about to do? The same thing I did to her last time I came to Immortal Championship Wrestling. Okay? Now, all of you, I don't know what you call yourselves, hicks, bums, I don't know, but in your bum town, don't expect me to hold back. I'm going to give you a show. You want women's wrestling? I'm going to give it to you. Okay? Adrianna Fury is going to come home with the belt. And I'm going to continue to have that belt. Longer than Kayla Sparks ever held your belt. Okay? Not only did she lose your belt once, she's about to lose it twice. And that's all I got to say to you Immortal Championship Wrestling fans. Kayla, if you're watching this, call your agent. Okay? If you have any questions, call your agent.
Great job.
Thanks. I was like, normally when I do promos, I have to like think about what I'm going to say. So like this one was like, all right, I got to come up with something like real quick and easy. And I was like, man.
As a person who, like I said, I'm not a wrestler at all, but I've watched enough wrestling. Listening to that promo, you told a good story in the promo that, you're trying to, and you said it before in the interview, you're trying to make Kayla irrelevant.
Yeah.
And like I said, the as the sports reference goes, the ball is now in your court.
Yeah.
That's why. Adrianna, again, thank you so much for hopping
Thank
on.
you.
The door is always open for you to come back on whenever you would like.
Of course.
And possibly with the women's title?
Yeah, fingers crossed. That's what I'm saying. She might give me a little bit of a fight if I'm being honest, because she just got it back. But I'm planning to come home with it regardless. So, but I also have to, I always pray before a match so that everything goes according to the way we want it to go and no one gets hurt. And, you know, that's my big thing. Safety always first before anything. So.
Oh, no, I completely agree. Like I said, I wish nothing but success for you in this match. And like I said, the door is always open for you to come back on whenever you would like. But where can the fans find you on social media to connect with you?
So currently, I'm a bit of a slacker when it comes to social media. I've been trying to post a lot more, but Instagram is really where I'm at mainly. I do have a Twitter, but I don't really use it much. But my Instagram, let me make sure I'm giving out the right username here. It's the.adrianna.fury on Instagram. It's a really long one.
I totally get it. But guys, Adrianna Fury takes on Kayla Sparks next Saturday, Westmoreland, New York for Immortal 30. Definitely go get your tickets. I think they're still available. I know Front Row got sold out.
I think Front Row is sold out.
Yeah, within like the first 12 seconds of it being available. But guys, you're not going to want to miss it. I say this every time we have somebody on from Immortal. If you are a fan of independent wrestling and you live in the New York area and you have a car, at least make the trip up once to Immortal Championship Wrestling. It's going to be worth it. Again, Adrianna, thank you so much for hopping on. I appreciate it a lot. And guys, this has been Around the Ropes YouTube exclusive, and we'll catch you guys next time.